Hello, I am back again with another episode, more religious based. This is not actually my next episode. I recorded a few before, but I haven't uploaded them. Um, so um, Today I wanted to talk about. Actually, I've been talking about. Um, how should I say? I've been talking about a post, a note that I wrote on Facebook about how the Ten Commandments are irrelevant, or it is irrelevant to follow the Ten Commandments. Um, so I wanted to kind of expound upon that so that people didn't think that I was stating that the Ten Commandments had been abolished, which apparently there's a lot of that kind of teaching going around. So let me explain myself. I'm not sidestepping or anything like that. I'm just going to explain it. Okay. When you are following a law, okay, you are you're following it. Well, let's speak religious, because if we talk like secular, it's kind of something different. If you're following a religious law, it is because generally you don't want to be you don't want God to be upset with you, angry with you. You want to go to heaven and all this other stuff, right? So this is the reason generally that you follow a law. Uh, However, God has stated, well, the Bible has stated multiple times that in order to get to heaven, or in order to please God, it is not by following the law. Uh, it is not by it. It would not be by following the law, right? Uh, Humankind has proven over time and time again that we are incapable of following His law, because we didn't really understand what His law means. Even now, we don't really understand the full extent of His law. And so we have these Ten Commandments, which we, for some reason, believe that if we follow them, we'll be keeping His law and that they will be in our heart. Except that's not the case. You can't dictate a law and put it within your, you can't take a law, put it inside your heart and say, you can't do that and then say, okay, so I'm just. We have the example of the rich young ruler who tried that, and it didn't work with him, right? This is why the Bible has like examples of people like trying to do what is right and then failing utterly because their focus is wrong. And God has mercy on us, because it's true, we're ignorant. We don't really know what's going on, but He also explains to us quite often how we're supposed to go about this, right? So a lot of people take, for instance, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, right? And they're just like, if you do anything on the Sabbath day, like work or something like that, you are not keeping it holy. However, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people have a lot of different interpretations of what it means to keep the Sabbath holy. Some people refuse to go to the to go to a restaurant, or go to a store. Some people refuse to wear, or some, like women, refuse to wear pants on the Sabbath. Some people refuse to check their emails on the Sabbath. Some people think it's okay, sort of thing. You start to understand, we don't really understand what keeping the Sabbath actually means. So, in trying to keep the Sabbath, so trying to obey the commandment, keep the Sabbath, we're actually screwing things up, right? So we've actually already failed in trying to do what we thought we should be doing in the first place. So then you're just like, well, if we continuously fail at this, what are we doing? Like, why are we trying to keep this? That's what God is saying. Why are you trying to keep this? Jesus said, when He was on earth, when He was like screaming at the Pharisees and the scribes, He said, He was like, you guys choke on a gnat but swallow a camel. And that's pretty much what he's saying about the law. You guys are trying to keep the law, which is literally impossible for you to keep because you don't understand it. They're spiritual things, they're heavenly things that if you're not in the right mindset, you're not going to understand these things. I mean, even I don't even know what keep the Sabbath means completely, totally. So I just trust God. I just wait for Him to show me, right? So in any case, he tells him, you're trying all these things like try to keep the Sabbath and blah blah blah, except there's a much easier way, which is just like love, like love, trust me, and I will show you the way. I'll show you how to do it. And when you fail, I will cover you. My grace is sufficient. Like all of these things, like he's saying, this is what I want you to do. Not focus on the law. The law will be fulfilled in you if you focus on me, right? He tells, in the same passage, he tells the scribes and Pharisees, you clean the outside of the plate or the cup, I think it was, but the inside is full of like cobwebs and stuff like that. So it's just like you white yourself on the outside, you make yourself look pious on the outside by keeping all these laws or whatever, and then you look down on other people who don't keep the laws the way you do or the way you see fit. And then you think you're righteous, except you're not, because on the inside, your heart hasn't been changed. Speaking as God, he's like, or Jesus, I don't live there, I don't reside there. I'm knocking at the door. You refuse to answer because you think that these laws are protecting you, or granting you my favor, when that is not the case. And I've told you this, that it's not the case many times before. You refuse to listen, partly because you're probably scared. You're always scared that God is going to call down some kind of judgment on you, or I don't know, obliterate you, or whatever. Often I find that that's the reason why people keep commandments, is because they're afraid to not keep them. Except if you're afraid to not keep the commandments, it simply means you don't trust God. You don't trust Him to teach you to keep the commandments. Now, then this is the reason why I'm posting this video, is because then we're talking about, people thought I was saying the law is, or the Ten Commandments. People were saying that I thought that I was saying that the Ten Commandments were abolished. The Ten Commandments are not abolished. So, like I'm saying, for instance, thou shalt not kill. Now, generally, this is the way it is. You just do not kill, right? But you don't kill because God said not to kill. You don't kill because you just don't want to kill, And you don't want to kill when you have the love of God like residing in your life. So you don't need a law to tell you that. Another example is, thou shalt not covet. Now, we know what happens when you covet, and you covet too much. King David, for example. But just in general, people, you don't want to covet generally because it just makes you feel bad, and because you're just like, oh, I don't have what they have, and then you just like pine over it and stuff like that. You just put you in a horrible position, and then in the end, you could do something drastic or stupid in order to get what it is that you're pining about, that you're coveting, right? Just don't do it. But it's not the law that is supposed to be established in you that says do not covet. The law is just stating this is what you would do, this is what you will naturally do when I reside in you. And if you end up coveting, because we're humans and we have sinned greatly, we've stopped trusting in God, we stopped believing in Him, now we trust in laws and believe in our own laws. We fail. And so we need God's quickening. We need the Holy Spirit's quickening to keep us in line. But I mean, we're not perfect. He hasn't changed us yet. So we still make mistakes. When we make those mistakes, when we covet people, when we, I don't know, kill people by defense or something like that, when things like this happen, um, he says, uh, I covered you with my blood, you know? So, so it kind of like everything just comes together, but it's not the law that leads you to loving. It's not the 10 Commandments that are going to lead you to having God in your heart. It is God in your heart that leads you to fulfilling the 10 Commandments, right? Or any law that has been placed. Then you start to understand when you walk with God. Then you start to understand what these laws mean. You realize that in your broken state, you're never going to be able to fulfill the law the way it's supposed to be filled. You know, it's literally impossible for you, for us, for humans to do it. So then you don't worry about it. Then you end up trusting in God. That is where we were supposed to all come back to in the first place. That is what the whole point of this salvation was and stuff like that. Coming back to God, not just keeping his commandments, because keeping his commandments will just happen when we come back to God, when we learn to trust him. But most of us don't trust God. We don't trust that if we trust him, he will teach us, or he will cause us to walk in his statutes, which he actually says in Ezekiel, I will give you a heart of flesh and cause you to walk in my statutes, right? Because humans have been trying to walk in God's statutes forever, and they have failed miserably. And the ones that succeed are those who the ones who succeed when walking with who succeed in trust and I don't know, and getting God's favor are those who end up trusting him, like Moses and like Samuel, you know, who wasn't, they weren't focused on laws. They were focused on God, their relationship with him. So that's something that I just wanted to clarify, and probably something that a lot of people should consider. I had a hard time with it at first as well, so I do not blame you if you're afraid to like take that step and just follow God like completely, expecting him to walk with you. I tell him all the time, I'm like, you know what, God, I have no idea if I'm doing right or not. I need you to walk with me if I move to the left or to the right, or if I would, do something stupid. I need you to guide me, protect me, lift me up like you promised that you would in Psalms 91. Like seriously, all of these things that you promised that you would do for me, and the ones that I claim, I need you to do them because I'm human. I realize my incapabilities, and that's it. So think about that.